In today's session, we're going to take a look at the workflow functionality in SunSystems Cloud, and we're also unpacking extended analysis for improving your reporting. Now, before we get started today, if you don't mind, we'd just like to do an acknowledgement of country. Today, I'm presenting from Melbourne, located on the lands of the Wurundjeri First Nations people. The Wurundjeri have lived here on these lands continuously for more than 40,000 years. I want to thank the First Nations people in all the lands for their care of those lands, the water and the animals. And I pay tribute to their elders, past, present and emerging. Okay, thank you very much for your patience on that. Okay, so first up, we're going to get started with Vincent. So Vincent is joining us from Hong Kong, and we thank him for his time today. He's going to be taking us through functionality that's available in SunSystems Cloud. And that functionality is workflows, more specifically workflows that provide for the onboarding of suppliers and their bank details at the start of the supplier lifecycle. Once Vincent has taken us through that, we're going to hand over to Akram's very own Catherine Hyde. And today, Kath is going to take us through some functionality that is available to both cloud and on-premise SunSystem customers. And that functionality is extended analysis. Just before I hand over to Vincent, just a very quick amount of housekeeping. We've currently got everyone on mute and without videos, but we do have the chat open so that you can pop any questions that you have as they arise through the presentations into the chat. And once Kath has finished her presentation, we're going to revisit and go through all of those questions. At that time, we're also going to open up the mics, so that if you want to ask your question in person rather than tapping down through chat, then you can do so. We plan to finish up at 4:40 p.m. today, Australian Standard Eastern Standard Time, so that we can get you on with your day, make it short, powerful, and sweet. And without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Vincent.
Thank you, Caroline. Can you see my screen?
Yes, Vincent, we can. Thank you.
Okay, cool. So this is the landing page I have defined for my portal. So I can access SunSystem through the application menu. And this is the main menu for SunSystem. I can navigate to different functions through this menu tree. And I can also do that by using a function search or shortcut key. So I search for my supplier maintenance functions that allows me to create a new supplier. Just key in the new supplier code, and it's not exist, then it will ask if I want to create it. I give it a name, the basic information for a new supplier onboarding, and then the account code in the GL. And after I create this record, the status by default, it will become draft. Okay. So the system will also put this supplier records into the work flow process so that approver will receive notification from the email. If I want to add additional information or like attachment to this supplier, I can navigate to the document management functions on the right corner. And then I can navigate to the, say, contract or invoice that reside in my PC and drop it to the document functions we have. Okay, I'm trying to find my invoice for that from that supplier. Okay, I just upload it, and I can check the invoice or attachment I've just sent to the server. And this is the document management function we have in the cloud, with which we can check the document we have sent, and we can define different attributes. Like in this example, I have the supplier number, and I can also set up security, and I can check if there is any other versions for that document if I want to show. And when I go back to Sun, okay, let's turn on and turn off the document management windows. And if I'm the approver, I will receive an email, or I can go to the InfoOS and navigate to the task widget I have installed in my homepage, with which I can see the outstanding tasks, one of which is a new customer, a new supplier I've just created. And this is the workflow process I have defined it in my environment. I can do the approval right here, or I can go to the InfoMingo apps, which allows me to see all the message grid from, well, different process. Like this one, I need to approve the supplier, so I can just click on the task. I can assign to myself or assign to other people in my group. And I can also drill back to the supplier record so that I can check the details. Okay, here is the supplier record I just created. And I can also check the supporting document I have attached it. If I go back to my, well, Mingo page, I can do the approval if I want. So everything looks fine. I can assign to myself, and then I can approve it. If I refresh this Mingo page, okay, the system will tell me that, wow, this supplier has already been approved. Okay, so it's done. If I go back to the supplier record, I can see that the supplier's status has been updated from draft to open now, so that I can, well, create a PO or using this supplier in my purchase. Now, the next thing I would like to show you is the creation of bank details for that supplier. So I just navigate to the bank detail function I have. And then fill in the necessary information like the bank detail code. Yes, I would like to create it. And then the bank name, of course, HSBC, the bank branch, sorting code, and the beneficiary's name. And the bank account number, of course. So I finish it, and the status will be draft at this moment. And this record will, well, go through the approval process. I've predefined it. And the approver will receive email notification or Google notification, InfoGo notification. And he will go into the Mingo apps, where you will see a new task created. Okay, bank details 91001 has been created or changed. Please review. And then he can go into the task, assign to himself, and then approve it or reject it if you want. So after the approval, we check the record, bank details. Okay. Notification will send out that the record has been approved. So if we go back to Sun and then check the bank details, the same record, and we can see that, well, the status now become open. Okay, so whenever we change the bank details record or the create a new one, okay, it will go through the same approval process if you want. Okay, that's all I want to show you guys today. I'll pass the stage back to Cap so that she can show you the extended analysis function in SunSystems.
Okay, thank you very much, Vincent. I'll just share my screen. If you can confirm that you can see my home page. Yes. Okay, thank you. Right, so what I'm going to be talking about this afternoon is extended analysis. Those of you who are current users of SunSystems will know that Sun has always had an extensive analysis coding structure available within the product, but sometimes you might want to capture more than just an analysis code and a description. Sometimes there might be related data that you want to attach to a code. So that's what I'm going to be looking at today. This is where extended analysis comes in. So I'm going to be showing this on the Cloud Sun 6.4 version today. I'm currently at my home pages, so I'm just going to go into Sun 6.4. Now I've opened a standard screen up previously. So normally when you come into analysis codes, let me just amend this so you can see it a bit clearer. You have an analysis code that you define, and then attached to that analysis code, you have a description and a lookup code. There's very little else information you can attach to that analysis code. So my product analysis code has just got a description and lookup. But many of the time you do want to actually capture more information. So what we can do is set up extended analysis. I'm just going to flip to an analysis code project, which has actually got extended analysis set up on it, just so you can see the difference. So if I amend this as well. So as per usual, we have the analysis code, the description and the lookup code. However, on this lower section of the screen, we've got related data. This is information that is always set up in extended analysis. If we look at this particular section of the screen, there are two types. So there are two types of extended analysis. The first type of extended analysis is where you can link one analysis dimension to another. So say, for example, you want to populate one analysis automatically with codes from another analysis. That can be useful in some situations. However, it's not that flexible. So the second type of extended analysis is custom analysis, and this custom analysis is what we're looking at here. And within custom analysis, you have a number of different fields you can define. You have up to 5. This is per analysis dimension. So on this project, I've got up to 5 date fields I can assign. I have up to 5 numeric fields. I've got an example of a numeric field here I can define. I have up to 10 fixed fields, them having to, like a drop-down box within Excel. And then up to 20 text fields. Now, those 20 text fields can be used to call up reference data fields. So, for example, customer, supplier, inventory items, product groups. You can use the reference data in SunSystems to actually automatically to sort of give you a selection list. In this example here, my project manager, what I've got is linked through to the employees table. So when I actually come in and actually look at the list, I'm actually actually seeing a list of all the employees on the system. So I've just named it project manager, but it's linking through to the employees. Likewise, on my project location, that's linked through to the country dimension. So if I go in there, I will be able to see that I've got my country codes sitting, and the user can select from them. So once you define the analysis, it's very easy then at the extended analysis. It's easy then for the users to actually just select from existing lists. Then I have to stop and think the list is available for them. So in this example, what we've got is a project. So the project start date is useful for us, likewise the end date. Project manager, project location, they're preset, they come from lists. Some of you who are actually in the audience today might be familiar with this, because some of you, I believe, are currently using similar analysis for funds and donors information such as this. But it can be very useful. And once you've got these fields defined within against the dimension and populated against the analysis code, then what you can do is you can actually then move into forms. So you then, in order to populate them, you move into Forms Designer and define it in the Forms Designer. But I won't be showing the Forms Designer part today because of our time constraints. But what I will do is just show you, let's close out of here, and I'm going to close out of the product as well. To define the analysis dimensions, the extended analysis is quite straightforward. I'm going to put one on product. So if we go into analysis dimensions function, if I select product, what you will see is you have extension fields here. If you're on premise Sun 6.4, there may be a serialization flag that needs to be ticked in order for you to see this, but within the cloud that becomes available to you anyway. And you go into extension fields, and this is where you define the fields that are available. Extend account manager. I can now create another extension for my product. I want to analyze it by account manager and perhaps a date, the date that it's onboarded into our product list. So I could actually click on create, and then the assigned field, I want to use a date field. So I come down and I select one of my 5 date fields from here. Say okay. I can then give a name, the commissioning page, so give it a name and a description. They don't have to be the same. And you can also, within the date fields, you can set a default date. Danger of the default dates is users will just accept the date there. So I'm going to leave it blank. When I say okay, and when I then exit from this screen, you'll see now I've got an additional item on here. It tells you what the assigned field is that you've used, and that's what you need in the Forms Designer to actually put those fields onto the form so that users can enter them.
Kath, it's Dave.
Yeah.
Do you think you could just turn your camera off, because you're just breaking up a little bit slightly? Maybe you should turn your camera off.
Okay.
Might stop that. Thanks.
All right. Is that better?
Yeah, I think so. Thanks, Kath.
Okay, no worries. So once you've defined the analysis, created the form, input the fields, they're available to you within Q&A. So what I'm going to do is flip quickly now into another screen. So what I've got on screen now is a very basic report. It's a project analysis report. This first tab, I'm doing a summary report. It's going to be selecting on certain projects, and then I'm outputting not only the project and the project code information, which has always been available on the analysis codes. I'm also outputting the extended analysis information. So you'll see we've got the project manager, the name of that project manager, the location, the name of the that location. So I can include all of that information if I want within one report. So this is me doing it, driving it by the project code, which is an actual analysis code. However, you've also got the ability, if I look at my second tab, to actually make the one of the extended analysis fields, your driver. So in this instance, I've picked donor as my field that I'm going to use, and I've built a very basic report, a quick report based listing my donors where they're not blank and the amounts. And within then I can use the Q&A 11.12 functionality to actually expand that out using all our tools, our breakout tools, expand tools, so that then we can slice and dice that information by all the other extended analysis. So here I am looking at the donor, which was a bit of information attached to the project, and then I can set the system up using the breakout function to expand that and give me one copy of this report for each project, which you'll see here, the ones in green. So there is one copy for each project. So for project 1, that's value. Let's come across project 2. So we're using, so we can create one basic summary report of our totals by donor, and then use the functionality of Q&A to break that information out. And we can break it down in transaction detail, or if you just want it all on the same page, but displayed slightly differently, you have got the ability to actually do an expand. So I've done that one previously because I'm conscious of time. I've expanded that report. So you've got the ability then to break it out. So for each of those donors, I can then see the project related detail attached to it. And with the expand function, I can choose which columns it appears in. So it means that having that information, it's all stored in SunSystems, it's accessible to Q&A. So you can build reports, quite comprehensive reports, without having to actually link through to other spreadsheets containing the information and other source data. Conscious of time, so that is more or less it before we throw it open to question and answers. So at this point, I think over to you, Dave, to sort of kick that off.
Yep, thanks, Kath. That was really good. For those of you who've got EPM as well, we can drag that extended analysis information into EPM for reporting as well. What we're going to do now is Ryan's going to turn everyone's microphones on. So if anyone's got any questions, feel free to shout out or put them into the chat. Maybe I'll start off with the first question for Vincent. So Vincent, the workflow solution you demonstrated today, there's a lot more functionality included in it than the regular on-premise SunSystems that a lot of our audience are used to. Specifically the document management, I think, will be of interest to people. So could you walk us through a few different examples of usage for document management, IDM, please?
Yes, sure. You can see my screen, right?
Yep.
Okay. I just log on Sun. And what I intend to do is I intend to show you, well, the document management function that allowed us to attach documents to different master records too. Okay, like the fixed access record. Okay, so I go to fixed access records. I turn on the application menu. Okay, where my document management function is here. So I can navigate to different asset records. So this is my first asset record. Okay, I am this one is a computer, so I can see my previous attachment here. Actually, I have 2 attachments. Okay, page 1, page 2, so I can navigate through. Okay, I can go to my document management apps and see the details of it. I can check out the document or the picture. And as I mentioned, we can define different attributes for different document types, like attachment to asset records. We need the asset code, asset name, right? And then we can check the history. If this one is a work document, we update it, we check it out, update it, and then we check it in. We may have different versions. Right now, I only have one version, and this is the time when I upload this version. Okay, this is how we can, well, go SunSystem with different attachments. And we can also do attachment with journal transactions, requisitions, all these types of transactional records. Okay. Yeah, answer the questions.
Yes, thank you, Vincent. Thank you very much. Kath, the extended analysis functionality obviously looks very powerful and brings in all the reference data alongside the other data. What are the kind of benefits people can expect to realise from bringing that into the system?
Okay, I think there we need to look at sort of how traditionally people have achieved this in the past. Let me again share my screen and go back to this example I gave you earlier on. So traditionally in the past, if you wanted to get linked information to a project, so we have a project code here, you wanted to get linked information, you might end up building additional sheets or lookups off to the side, which hold your information that about the project details. You might have had a number of lookups if you're doing projects, or references to other sheets. What this allows you to do is bring that core data inside SunSystems. So within SunSystems, then, if any change happens, it changes centrally within your source. So SunSystems becomes a source of that. So it means that any reports built using those codes will automatically be updated. You're not having to manage lots of lookups in different separate sheets. So it makes it far more efficient from you don't have to build the lookups. You just you just extend your Q&A report a bit. And also because it's that central location, you know that the change is going to flow out to any reports that are recalculated. So when a report is recalculated, that's going to have that up-to-date information, and it's across the board. So it's some fairly strong reasons to go down the extended analysis route. And just what I didn't show previously, if I just quickly go in, once you have the extended analysis, it will appear under your project table. So it's very quick to set these reports up. With the report, I say it's very quick. I'm in Teams at the moment, so it's taking a little bit of time to refresh. But what you'll see is once you have it set up, it is available within the standard. You don't have to go off anywhere and looking further through the system. If we look at the project analysis code and then look at the table beneath it, which has got all our details, we have the standard fields there available. And then as we come down the list, what you'll then see are all the extended fields. So they're treated in exactly the same way, and they can just be clicked and dragged to be included in your report, and they can be used in the filters as well. So, and the terminology is as we actually define those codes. So very makes your reports more powerful, and maintenance of the reports should be reduced quite dramatically. Did I go on too much about that? Sorry. I think it's a great tool.
You're the #1 fan. This will conclude today's event. If today's content's been helpful, please have a look at the Aquam Consulting website, where you'll find recordings of previous insight sessions and tips and tricks. Thank you everyone for coming.